Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to go over a few successful cases that we had in the past few weeks to expedite cases, K1s, CR1s, and other family members that are stuck overseas trying to come to the United States, and their US citizen family members in the US are desperately trying to get those cases expedited so that they'll be able to be scheduled for an interview. So we'll go over some of these cases so you can kind of see the timeline as to when we filed the expedited, when NVC approved the case, and now what's happening with the case going to the US Embassy in the respective country. We're going to cover in this video Moscow and the Philippines, which were the two cases that we had approvals just in the past week, and I've got some information about Islamabad as well. So always remember that expedited requests under the national interest exceptions are never guaranteed. And in this video, we'll go over some of the examples of cases that did work, just to give you more hope and inspiration in case you're stuck waiting for your loved ones to come back to the United States. So let's dive right in. Hello everybody, and welcome back to our immigration YouTube channel. This is a place where we get the most recent immigration news, immigration updates, and everything else that you need to make your immigration journey less stressful. My name is Jacob Sapochnik, and I'm an immigration attorney based in San Diego, California, and I help clients in all 50 states. If you're here for the first time, make sure to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to share this video with more people just like you. So let's talk about expedited requests and what's happening right now. We're in March 2021, cases that are being stuck at NVC waiting for their interview to be scheduled at the respective embassies. What I can tell you is that in the past few days, we have been receiving a few emails since the proclamation has been lifted from NVC for our clients, notifying us that they finished processing cases and they're starting to send them to the embassies. But these are very, very few. These are really isolated cases. We still are not seeing what we expect to see, that NVC will start finishing processing cases and start in a methodical and organized way sending cases to their respective embassies. Currently, a lot of the activities that NVC is referring to DV lottery winners because of the litigation and because of the proclamation that is being lifted. So we see quite a few of those are getting their cases starting to move forward. But since there's no movement at NVC yet for cases like K1s, CR1s, and other family petitions, we have no choice but to continue to push the different embassies at our office and try to get expedited requests approved for our clients, whether they're K1s, CR1s, and other family matters. In this video, we're going to go through K1 that was recently approved in Moscow, one of the most difficult embassies to deal with, and we're just going to discuss the case, what we've done, and what to expect in the next few months at different embassies as they start to reopen. Once again, remember that the NVC or the embassies, they don't have an obligation to approve these cases. Yes, we have the national interest exceptions, and we try to fit our clients within those exceptions, but still, every case is handled on a case-by-case, and so aside from waiting, trying to expedite is definitely a good idea if you qualify. And like I said, the last resort is to sue the government and file a writ of mandamus. But again, a lot of people are still hesitating to do so, and they want to try different things before going for litigation, and that's what this video is all about. So let's jump into the cases that were approved in the past 2 weeks and describe exactly what happened. So our first case we're going to focus is a K1 at the US Embassy in Moscow. Now remember, this is one of the most difficult embassies in the world when it comes to CR1 cases, family petitions, and K1 visas. It's very difficult to get a hold of this embassy. They're not really replying to emails on a regular basis. And every time we have a case in that embassy, we try to be very consistent, very methodical, yet respectful. But it's very important to make sure that you understand how to deal with these particular embassies. So in this case, we have a US citizen, a male US citizen, who is in the United States. Their petition was pending for more than a year. The K1 is pending for more than a year. The last time they saw each other was sometime in December. They met in Turkey, in the third country, and since then they've been separated. The US citizen who is working for an employer, he's not self-employed, he's working for an employer. He has a good position, he's an engineer. And because of the stress and because of the anxiety, he had to go on some medications, and he went to the point where he had to go on a medical leave for almost 6 months. So the US citizen is now on medical leave. He's taking medication, antidepressants, and other medications. Again, there's no life-threatening condition there. Remember, it's people think that it has to be a life or death situation. It's not. It's definitely a very complicated situation. It's definitely very difficult for this petitioner, but we have a lot of families and a lot of couples in that same situation. What we are doing in those cases, we are trying to navigate the situation of this family and see how we can fit them into the national interest exception. One of these exceptions is stating the following. The State Department has intentionally established the national interest exception for cases in which the beneficiary can join the US citizen to alleviate their burden of care. What that means is that under this exception, we are showing in our legal brief and in all the supporting documents that this US citizen needs his fiancée to come and help him to take his medication, to help him with his treatment for his depression and other things that are going on with him. So essentially, because he's now by himself, he doesn't have anybody else to help him, we need his fiancée to come to the United States to be with him, because the longer they're separated, his anxiety becomes even worse, his depression becomes even worse, his medications are less effective, and we need his fiancée to be in the United States to help him. Again, we included the legal brief. We have letters from his psychiatrist, from his doctor, the different lists of medications, proof that he's on a medical leave at the moment, that he cannot work. All these different factors that are impacting the US citizen's quality of life, and specifically addressing that exception that allows a foreign national to come to be with their US citizen spouse if they're there to help care for them. And again, this is kind of the most common way how we are able to fit people that qualify into this exception. So let's look at the timeline. So we put together the package, we filed it via email to the MVC. There's a specific email that is available from the MVC to be able to expedite those cases. We send the case over there, and let's look for a second at the screen right now so you can see when this application was accepted for review. So as you can see, this application was accepted for review on February 26, 2021 at 9:57 a.m. in the morning, and then just a short email. Once you send it to them, it says, "Good day, we are reviewing your request for expedite processing of this immigrant visa petition. We will notify you with the results when the review is complete." So we sent it on February 26th. You get this general email. There's a case manager assigned from the MVC, and then we had to wait. The next email we received was the approval, and let's see how fast that was. So let's look at it again. So now we can see that we have March 5th at 7:56 a.m. and it says, "Good day, the US Embassy in Moscow has accepted this case for expedited processing. We will send the file immediately to the US Embassy." So basically what happens now is they approve the processing. Now we're working with the US Embassy in Moscow to get an emergency appointment to be able to accommodate this couple. So remember, from February 26th to March 5th, it's less than 2 weeks that they process that request. It's not too bad. And now it's going to take probably another 4 weeks for the US Embassy in Moscow to issue the emergency appointment for this family to be able to get their K1 visa appointment and be able to get the K1, so they will be able to be together very soon. So it is possible, it is doable. And again, this is one of the most difficult embassies in the world to get such an approval. Again, even for us, it was like, wow, it was mind-boggling, because honestly, we thought about taking this case to court to litigate this one. Thank God that MVC saw the importance of doing the right thing, getting this thing expedited, and now hopefully Moscow will do the same thing. So it's possible, it is doable, it is important to take action. Sitting and waiting is no longer a possibility. Now, let's talk about our next case. This one is another category that we get a lot. This is a US citizen parent. US citizen parent, we have so many US citizen parents that have their kids overseas. A lot of countries like India, China, the Philippines, and we have a lot of people in Africa. This case is, again, a very complicated, very difficult embassy, the embassy of Manila. So in this case, we have a US citizen mother. She's in her 80s right now, and her child, who is adult child, who is in the Philippines. And again, very complicated. We were waiting, we get no response, and we've decided to, the dates are current, the priority is current, MVC needs to do the right thing. Nothing was moving. We filed the expedited request, again, based on the national interest exception. Just like I mentioned before in the previous case, This is because the mother has she has cancer. She needs help with mobility, getting her medications, companionship. Her mental state is getting worse and worse, and she needs her daughter in the United States to help and care for her. So again, that's the exception. That's the reason. Let's look at the timeline as to when we filed the expedite request and what happened. So if you look at the screen, we're looking here at February 16, 2021 at 3 p.m. And it says, we are reviewing your request for expedite processing. This immigrant visa petition will notify you when the results are complete. So again, we followed the same procedure. We put together the package. We used all the supporting documents like I mentioned. We go for the exception, specifically that section that says that the U.S. citizen petitioner, not the beneficiary, but the petitioner, is in need of care from the beneficiary, which is waiting overseas. We use that, we put all the supporting documents, medical records, whatever is needed, submitted it via email, received that email that we just saw, February 16th. Now let's see when the approval came. So now we have looking at Thursday, March 4th, 2021, 3:26 a.m. Good day, the U.S. Embassy in Manila has accepted this case for expedited processing. We will send this file immediately to the U.S. Embassy. Now, this is amazing news. We are looking at, again, just over 2 weeks, which is not bad for Manila. Now we're going to go press hard on the U.S. Embassy over there to get us an emergency appointment, to get this beneficiary, get her immigrant visa approved so she can go and join her U.S. citizen mother to be able to help her in the United States. So again, those things work. Again, it's not guaranteed by all means. I'm telling you that. It's not guaranteed. We're doing our best. But again, if this doesn't work and you've been waiting and nothing happens, you will have to go ahead and try to file a lawsuit, which is a whole different story. But again, I firmly believe that it's worth it to try it. If it works, great, you save some money, and it's fast, as you can see. Now, third case just came in now as we're recording this video, is from Islamabad. It was a CR1, and that one also, it took about 2 weeks to process that case from the time we submitted the request for expedite until they approved it. Again, these are very, very difficult embassies. Moscow, Philippines, Islamabad. And I get it. People are frustrated and they don't want to wait anymore. But it is important to be proactive. There are things you can do. And after you tried everything, and if nothing works, then you sit down and assess the chances whether you should go ahead and file a lawsuit, pros and cons, and all the other things you can do. But there are different options, and it's important to sit down and understand your specific case and evaluate whether you're ready to expedite or do something else. The bottom line is that there is hope for everybody who's watching this video. If you're stuck, you're waiting overseas and you need help, there are options. So once again, thanks for watching this video. If you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and don't forget that if you need help, you can text me right here. Text the phone number 619-483-4549. Set up a consultation. Let's talk about your case. Let's see where you're stuck. Let's see how we can expedite your case. Let's understand where you're coming from. You're not alone. There is hope. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you at our next video.